Welcome to Chaos to Clarity, where we discuss healing trauma with godly guidelines. I'm your host, John. Today's episode is going to be on grief. I know I just did one on it, but this one is about how it changes you. We all know grief is the loss of something or someone. It has stages, but one thing we can all relate to is that it changes us. Some of us for the good. You get closer to God and closer to your family, and some of us get distant. It alters us physically, mentally, and socially, and it reshapes our life. So, a personal experience of mine, and I was actually like thinking about this the other day, and I was like, that would be something good to let people know because I do I do want to be transparent with you guys, and ultimately this is stuff that I need to unpack in my healing journey, and I just hope that um along the way I get to help somebody else. Okay. I actually don't remember a life without grief, and I'm fixing to be 48. I was in elementary school when my first best friend died. He was my neighbor. Our families were friends, and we would hang out and spend as much time together as we could. Like, I remember doing all the things with him, especially on the weekends. And yes, it was a boy. I remember the morning that my mom came and told me about the accident. Like, I can literally remember it like it was yesterday. Him and his dad had went hunting, and it was extremely cold in South Louisiana, and I think it was in January. They had bundled up really thick. Their boat flipped, and anyway, him and his dad didn't make it. Okay. Um, he passed away from hypothermia. I felt as though someone had literally punched the air out of my lungs that morning, and like my chest began to burn. Some of you are going to be able to relate to that feeling. That day changed my life forever, guys. I actually ran away to my grandparents' house, even though it was just down the road, which would later become a pattern of how I would handle things that I couldn't process in my life. I actually think my parents split up that year too. It's kind of foggy because I was under the age of 8. So this was the beginning of a shaky foundation that kind of gave me a distorted perception that the people that I loved would go away in some way or another. So I started like internally shutting down and, laying the bricks to the proverbial wall around my heart, so to speak, implanting a little bit of bitterness into my heart, which would have a huge impact on how I would perceive all relationships over the next 40 years. I actually didn't realize how much stuff that I had pushed down until I was probably in my 40s, and that how much I needed God to help me unpack in my healing journey caused by death or the loss of what a life that I thought was supposed to be like growing up. Childhood trauma is what it's labeled as now. Thankfully, God reminds us that He's close to the brokenhearted and He saves those who are crushed in spirit, even if it's 40 something years later. Okay. That can be found in Psalm 34:18. Sure, life is going to have grief and loss, but it's how we allow it to affect us. We can either grow closer to God so we can help others, or we can become bitter, which is often what happens. But that's not what God wants us to do. He wants us to process things in the best way that we can. And it's not a race, okay? You do things in your own time, in your own way. but just know that God's going to be there for you. There's plenty of people out there that have gone through some form of grief that's similar to yours. Reach out. Okay. Y'all can message me. I'm right here. I done been through almost every kind of grief that you can imagine. Okay. And I'll probably touch on that later on. I'd later learned that I had a gift to be there for people during a grieving process that not too many people have. Some more references are 2 Corinthians 1, 3, and 4, Psalm 73, 21 through 26, and Psalm 31, 9. Thank you for listening to Chaos to Clarity, where we help one another declutter our minds together. Until next time, friends.